Hello and welcome to the feature game from our final league match this season. In a few of our previous feature games, we chose them because they offered valuable insight into endgame play. However, this game was chosen to remind us that careful consideration and planning is required also in the first few turns of Dominion. Let's start by looking at the kingdom. We have no source of plus actions. We have plus cards from Artist, from Sinister Plot, from Torturer, and from Hunter. We have plus buy from Farmer's Market. We have some gain from Anvil and Jester. We have some trashing from Cemetery, from Sailor, and I will consider Bounty Hunter as trashing. The lack of plus actions dictated my early thoughts about the kind of deck that I wanted to build. I was thinking of something that played a few hunters and maybe ended with a farmer's market or a jester accompanied by some treasure. Bounty Hunter would put the green cards away on the tavern mat so my deck would remain consistent. However, upon closer inspection, I realized that arms is in the kingdom and you can buy arms on turn 1 and turn 2 to get cemeteries. To trash 8 cards over the course of 2 turns. Ordinarily, that seems like over trashing. It seems like you will remove too many resources from your deck too quickly. However, with some careful planning and pursuit of the line, you realize you can actually go ahead with the double cemetery opening and still build a good deck fast enough. Let's see how we go about this. I open on turn 1 with the arms like we discussed, and we will get a cemetery. No treasures have to be in play, so I will get rid of the estate and as many copper as possible. My opponent, on the other hand, goes for a Sinister Plot. Another arms for me, and another cemetery allows me to trash the remaining 2 estates. I keep the Haunted Mirror just in case I wanted a ghost. Ghost may provide extra actions which may be useful. You might get another buy from a farmer's market. Didn't seem that valuable, but why not keep the Haunted Mirror? I have to keep one of these cards. I also counted out how many coppers I had left, and I wanted to keep enough copper, 2 copper in this case, so that I would get to 5, not on this turn, but on the next turn, because this is what I mean by future planning. Turn 1 cemetery, turn 2 cemetery, turn 3 arms again, this time for Bounty Hunter, turn 4 Bounty Hunter, put the cemetery aside, you get up to 5, 5 buys Jester, Jester plays, you set aside another cemetery, and you keep on building from there. You could get gold also on that turn, and you're quickly converging on a unique type of deck rarely seen. Let's see how my opponent proceeds with the Sinister Plot. They go ahead and get a cemetery along with the Sinister Plot. We continue along our plan. We plan this out from the beginning. We buy an arm so we can get a Bounty Hunter. The Bounty Hunter will not only set aside 2 points for us safely, it'll get us to 5 so we can buy a Jester. Jester has coin on it and may provide some gain for us, but more so I'm hoping it provides some interruption to my opponent. They get to 5. They've trashed 2 estates, so this is not terribly unlikely. Let's see what they get. They are pursuing a slightly different line to me. They go for the Jester, which is ineffective against my deck. My deck is in my hand. I have no deck. There's nothing Jester can copy. But later in the game, Jester will be able to copy cards. Maybe. Bounty Hunter sets aside a cemetery. We get to 5. And we buy the Jester, mostly because we want the money from the Jester, not because we want to gain stuff from our opponent's deck. Another cemetery for my opponent. They go for another big trash, and they have their deck in their hand as well. Here, I could set aside the cemetery, play the Jester, and then buy a silver, or you set aside the copper. I haven't set aside a copper yet. That'll get me 3 coin. Then I have 2 from the Jester. Then I have 1 more from the Haunted Mirror. That is a gold. Where are we going with this? This is the Bounty Hunter Golden deck. It'll take shape very soon in a couple turns. You see now how ineffective my opponent's Sinister Plot is. There are 3 tokens on it, but their whole deck is in their hand. Probably a poor opening choice if this is the path they eventually went down. Jester comes out, copies nothing, but gives them 2 coin. And they have 5 once more. 5 is not as good here. They don't need any draw. They need money, really. They go for a second Jester. This is an indication that they want to get a Ghost. They'll trash the Haunted Mirror next turn, discard one of the Jesters to gain the Ghost. Bounty Hunter comes out for me. Here I can set aside the Cemetery. I do not need the money because I have 6 already to buy another gold. And here we are, almost at the Golden deck with the Bounty Hunter. This is a variation of the Bishop Golden deck strategy. And I think my opponent is too far behind to catch up at this point. I feel very comfortable right now. I feel like I've won the game, honestly. They go for the Cemetery as we expected. I'm expecting a trash of the Haunted Mirror to gain the Ghost. Discards another Jester. Yep, there's the Ghost here. I will get rid of my Haunted Mirror. I don't see any use for a Ghost. I think I'll win the game uncontested in the next 8 turns. Because at this point, I'm able to buy a province. And the only cards in my deck are the 2 gold, the Jester, the Bounty Hunter, and the province. Jester never affects me. Every turn, I'll set aside a province on the Tavern mat with the Bounty Hunter. And still have 8 left over to buy province. What are you going to do, chesstick? Your move. They play their Jester. They don't have their Ghost in hand. Ghost with a thin deck is also not the best. They go for an Arms. They get a Bounty Hunter here. And we are just going to start plugging away at the provinces. Not start, but continue plugging away at the province. My Jester copied one of their Jesters. I do not want it. I do not want a 6th card in my deck. Take the Jester, chesstick. Is probably garbage for you anyway. Bounty Hunter for my opponent. Exiles a Cemetery. No copy of the Jester. They buy a Torturer, which is a good buy. That is the only card that can provide any kind of interruption to me here. Regardless, the most they can do is play 2 Torturers. And if I ever miss on province because I've collected too many curses, I buy Sinister Plot. I wait a couple turns. Trash everything out with a Cemetery. We are sufficiently well defended against Torturer attacks, I think. And for the most part, it'll be just 1 curse per turn. Exile, province, gain copper to my opponent, give copper to my opponent, and buy another province. So we have 3 provinces very quickly. Where are we? Turn 9. And I'm going to get a 4th one. Chesstick plays their Torturer here. I could take the curse and exile it, or I could discard. I choose to discard here. I'm not sure which option is better. I feel reasonably confident with either, given that I have half the provinces already, or will have half the provinces very soon. Another Torturer for my opponent, and the Ghost does indeed flip up our Torturer. So we will get attacked up to 3 times next turn. Still, like I said, I'm confident. I give my opponent another Torturer. I don't want extra cards in the deck. I don't want to interrupt the Golden deck. Even though now I'll have 2 provinces, 6 cards. Out comes my opponent's Torturer, so we gain a curse here, we gain another curse off the Torturer. We'll see if they play a 3rd copy of Torturer or not. I took the curse here because the province is in hand. If I take the curse, I exile the curse. That's 3. Gold is 3, Jester is 2. That's our 5th province. Come at me, chesstick. They copy the gold, which I don't like, but it's fine. And they get up to 8 for a province of their own. So they're helping me to end the game. I don't need to get all 8 provinces. Again, I keep giving my opponent these Jesters. I don't need them. I don't want them. And I have 5 provinces now. Here, I finally miss on province. This is an easy choice of the Torture. I discard 2 provinces. But I'm so far ahead, I can afford to stall for a couple turns. Lack of plus buy, right? I can afford to stall for a couple turns and still be ahead on points. 8 for my opponent. They are not going to take the okay, they take the penultimate province. I thought they wouldn't, but I think that's a fair play. They need to get the remaining provinces to win the game, so why not take the penultimate? 6. The best buy here is not Duchy, it is in fact Sinister Plot. I think if you give me a couple turns, I'll be able to draw enough cards to get the final province. Over to my opponent now. Bounty Hunter comes out for them, gets 3 coin. Here, this is what made it possible for me to get the final province, the Torturer play that is. I gain a curse to hand, and that allows me to discard the curse that I put in the exile, which means Bounty Hunter can now exile a curse for the first time, or there will be no curse in exile, so Bounty Hunter will gain 3. And then I have the remaining money from Jester and Gold to buy the final province to win the game. So we effectively won this game, I would say, on turn 1 or 2, just because we opened with the double cemetery and we noticed that we can actually build out of the double cemetery opening. I hope this highlights the importance of planning out your first few turns in Dominion. That is still very, very important to do, and on occasion it'll just win your games outright like this. Let's have a look at the standings now. We do finish in 3rd place this season with a score of +2, which is fine, but not enough to promote. We'll try again next season. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.